Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the cockpit of some classic birds, those beloved older Cessna and Piper aircraft that many of us learned to fly in. We're going to talk about a little light that can cause a big headache if you do UNT know what it means. The VAC glowing on. Seeing that light pop on can be a bit unnerving, especially if you're in the clouds. So let us break down exactly what it is telling you and what you need to do about it. So, what is this vacuum system all about? In many of these wonderful analog aircraft, a vacuum system is the heart that powers some of your most critical flight instruments. I'm talking about your attitude indicator and your heading indicator, the gyroscopic instruments that tell you which way is up and where you're going. Unlike modern glass cockpits that use electronic sensors, these older gauges rely on gyros that are spun at very high speeds by a stream of air. The vacuum system is essentially a fancy air pump that sucks air through these instruments, making the gyros spin. Think of it like a tiny, precisely controlled hurricane inside your instrument panel. For these gyros to work correctly, they need a steady and specific amount of suction, usually somewhere between 4.5 and 5.5 inches of mercury. Now, that brings us to the VAC low light. It's the airplane's way of tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, there's not enough suction to keep the gyros happy. When the vacuum pressure drops below that minimum threshold, the light comes on. This is a big deal because if the gyros aren't spinning fast enough, they start to give you bad information. Your attitude indicator might start to tumble or lean, and your heading indicator will begin to precise or drift. Relying on these instruments when they're failing is a recipe for spatial disorientation, which is incredibly dangerous, especially in instrument meteorological conditions. So, you see, the VAC low light. What's the first thing you do? Don't panic. Abbiate. Navigate. Comunicate. Your first priority is to fly the airplane. Recognize that your vacuum-driven instruments are now unreliable. If you're in visual conditions, this is much less of an emergency. You can use your magnetic compass for heading and the horizon outside for attitude. But if you're in the soup, you need to immediately transition to your backup instruments. This is where your turn coordinator, which is usually electrically driven, becomes your best friend. You'll use it, along with your altimeter and vertical speed indicator, to maintain control of the aircraft. This is why partial panel training is so critical for any instrument pilot. Once you've stabilized the aircraft, it's time to diagnose the problem. The most common culprit for a VAC low indication is a failure of the vacuum pump itself. These are mechanical pumps, often engine-driven, and they have a finite lifespan. They can and do fail, sometimes without much warning. So, a sudden loss of vacuum pressure often points directly to a pump failure. Your checklist will guide you, but generally, there isn't much you can do in the air to fix a failed pump. The mission now becomes about getting the aircraft safely on the ground. What else could it be? While less common, a leak in the system can also cause low vacuum pressure. The system is a network of hoses, fittings, and filters that run from the pump to the instruments. Over time, these hoses can become brittle and crack, or fittings can loosen. A significant leak means the pump can't maintain the necessary suction. You might also have a clogged filter. The system has an air filter to ensure only clean air is pulled through the instruments, and if that filter gets blocked, it can restrict airflow and drop the pressure. After you've landed safely, it's time for some real troubleshooting on the ground with your mechanic. They'll start by inspecting the vacuum pump. If it's failed, the only solution is to replace it. It's also a good practice to check the pump's service life. Many have recommended replacement intervals. If the pump seems okay, the next step is to go hunting for leaks. Your mechanic will inspect all the vacuum hoses for cracks, brittleness, or loose connections. They might use a smoke machine or other methods to pinpoint the exact location of a leak. Don't forget the filters. A dirty or clogged filter is an easy and inexpensive fix that can often be overlooked. Replacing the filter is part of regular maintenance, but sometimes it gets missed. In conclusion, the VAC low light is a serious indication that requires your immediate attention. It means the instruments you rely on for attitude and heading are becoming unreliable. Remember to trust your training, transition to your backup instruments, and prioritize getting the aircraft on the ground safely. On T-ground, a systematic check of the pump, hoses, and filters will almost always reveal the source of the problem. Understanding your aircraft's systems is key to being a safe and proficient pilot. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you found this helpful, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into aircraft systems. Fly safe, and we'll see you in the next one.